What's up?
Oh, my man in the building. Hershel, what's up, brother?
Good, doing well, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm excellent, man. It's Saturday. It's beautiful and sunny in California, so we're never gonna complain here, right?
Dude, seriously, I this morning I was sitting outside on we have like a little stand-up hammock and
Yep.
I used it for like the first time in a really long time and I was just chilling there reading a book. It was so nice.
What's that? What's your picture say behind you? I love that.
Oh, dude. It's work hard and be nice to people.
Mm, mm. That's powerful. That's powerful.
Constant reminder, man. You need
Right?
it.
We can all use more love and kindness.
Yep, yep.
I love it, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to jump on IG Live. I know we've been friends for a while now. We actually met through our good friend Samir,
Yeah.
and and through Tony Robbins, right? The personal development event, and ended up going through his Unleash the Power Within, which was nuts. You still got it, right?
Dude, I pulled it up last night. I'm like, I need to look back at this because it was so powerful. That whole session was so good.
I'm telling you, man. I actually went to another one in November, last November in Miami, and it was the same thing, man. It was
Yeah.
unleashing the inner beast, and sometimes we forget that that thing exists inside of us. You
It's
know,
it's it's a good reminder. It's a lot of things that we don't think about on a daily basis
yeah,
that once we put it in front of us, it's like a good like, hey, do this. This is a good thing for you. Like it's a good reminder for sure.
yeah. It's good to always go back to those things that helped
Yeah.
us kind of catapult ourselves to that next level. I know it was
Yeah.
a big game changer for you. Changed a
Oh,
lot
huge.
of what I'm doing now today.
Yeah.
But for those people that don't know, who you are, and I know we talk all the time, and this is your first IG live,
It's,
but
it's my very first one, man. I'm so excited.
hey, yeah, no, I'm excited to have you because we have a lot of conversations and we have a lot of mutual interests, and I think we agree on a lot of different topics. But I so for people that don't know about you, I'm just going to talk a little bit about who you are, and
Okay.
um, you know. I met you, like I said, through Tony Robbins or through Samir, our good friend, and then we ended up going to Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. But you're a financial wizard.
Trying to
Financial and
be. Trying
no,
to be
you are.
as much of
You're.
a
Listen, you're a financial and economic wizard. You really kind of made your mark in the entertainment space, and then transitioned to Deloitte, which is one of the top consulting firms out there, right?
Yep.
And so now you're creating this financial coaching business that is empowering people to become more financially free.
Yep.
And as both of us know, it's a big problem, and it's not just here in the United States, but it's around
Everywhere. Yeah.
around the world. But before you created all this success, I mean, we both went to UCLA, right? Before you created all this, you got your MBA from UC Irvine. What's the backstory? Like, how did you get to where you're at today?
Totally. Yeah, I think I can go way back, like 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Um, I think it all really started when we moved here. So there's like multiple things that happened in my life that kind of led me to like it was a building block, right? Like you can create a stepping stone to get to where you are. So uh, I honestly we moved here in '96, and it was my family. That was like the beginning of all this. My family worked their butts off to give us a better life. We moved here in '96 with like 10 of us moved here, right? So it was like my cousin's family, my grandparents, my family, and we literally my parents started from scratch for us. They had a decent life there in India. We sold everything. There wasn't much to sell, but we sold stuff. Moved here with they came with very little in their pockets. So they started from scratch with jobs like a clerk type job or like a cashier and things like that. And they built the base here for us.
Right.
And I've seen the struggle and I've seen the value and I respect them a lot for it. Uh, all the four parents from the two families that moved here, they put their hearts out for us. And we were all living in like a 3-bedroom condo together at the time we moved.
Wow.
So
So you moved from India.
Yep.
What part of India?
So I was born in Mumbai, but
Uh-huh.
we also lived in New Delhi. It's like two of the major uh,
Yep.
cities in India. So
Sure. That's what I know, at least when I hear
yeah,
India, right?
Bollywood.
Exactly, exactly. And so what were your parents doing in India before they moved here?
So my dad was actually a customs officer,
Uh-huh.
and my mom was she was a housewife for the most part, but she also was dabbling into the beauty industry there. Like she got her, I think she got her cosmetology license there.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then she had just started, and then my uncle, who was already living here, he decided to reach out to my parents and my cousin's parents, and was like, "Hey, you should bring the kids here. You know, there's a better life here, more opportunities." So they packed their bags and didn't think twice. They gave up their whole life to kind of give us ours. So it was huge.
That's, I mean, it says a lot, right?
Yeah,
The fight for opportunity, the fight for freedom, the fight for a better life, right? And
yeah.
so you get here and you're 10 years old, and is it Orange County that you guys moved to?
No, we've been in Northridge ever since we moved.
Okay, so you moved to Northridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
And
right after the big thing. Bigger thing.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So it's like, all right, earth-shattering earthquake, and then now you go live in Northridge,
Yeah.
and you're in a three-bedroom condo with how many people?
It was 10 of us, and then my uncle would also be there from time to time. And then his kids would come. Or he was going through a divorce, I think, at that time. But his two kids would be staying over the weekend. So there's really like 13 of us at times in
Wow.
that place.
Wow. And so how, like were you like sharing a room with like three or four people, or how
Yeah.
was that?
So basically, like each family would have a room. So my parents and me and my brother would have a room. My grandparents had a room, and then my cousin's family, there were four of them. They had a room, and then there was like a little like computer room den type area.
Uh-huh.
That's where basically my uncle would stay. There was a bed there, and then his kids, whenever they would come hang out, they would stay there too with them. So
Yeah, that's humbling, my man. I mean, I grew up in Diamond Bar, and I shared a room with my brother, but we was five people in a four-bedroom house. So,
yeah.
it's just humbling to hear that. And so you started. So what was the biggest challenge for you growing up? Because I think we all had, like, I was bullied. That was a big thing that I still hold on to today. But what was the big challenge for you growing up outside of just moving here and being accustomed to a new culture?
So I personally was very, very shy as a kid, and even right now, like I'm what they call an introverted extrovert. So that really it took a lot for me to open up, and I can thank some friends along the way
Mm,
who've been like a driving force in changing what my personality is now, right? So
right.
one of my high school friends, he was the complete opposite of me. So when I got to high school, I was still pretty quiet in the beginning, and then I started to open up, and he was the type where, like, peak personality, like very out there, and he'll say whatever he wants.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, I got to think twice before I say anything. So that was one thing. It took me some time. We kind of like balanced each other out over
Uh-huh.
time, which was awesome. But if certain people weren't there in my life earlier on, I probably would not be the person I am today. So that was one thing. It was hard to open up for me here. Just kind of getting used to the culture here and things. I was already 9 or 10 when I moved here, so I
Hmm.
had established a lot of values, and I was just a very quiet kid in general. So it was tough.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. And so when did you start getting interested in this whole financial, numbers and money, and like, how did that come about?
So that all that started when it started at UCLA. So when I went to college, I kind of knew I was already kind of good with numbers.
Uh-huh.
I took a lot of math classes in high school and such. So I decided I wanted to do something with accounting or finance. I had already kind of made my mind with that. Even though I didn't really know what I was going to do with it, I had already made my mind that I was going to land something in numbers. So I did that. I took courses, and actually, that's how I met Samir. He was also an econ major with me at UCLA, and Then I landed internships in accounting, finance, in the entertainment industry. I first started at Fox. So I interned there. Then after graduating, I worked with our family business for a little bit, and then I decided to go jump back to Fox and see if they had a position open. So then I moved to Showtime networks, and then I moved to NBC Universal, and now I'm here at Deloitte. But essentially, that led me also to get my MBA, right? So MBA is very expensive. I went to UC Irvine, like you mentioned, and by the end of grad school, I was about $110,000 deep in debt, right? Just from student
Jesus.
loans.
Right.
And that's not even counting like this 15 to 17K I had left over from undergrad,
Right.
which I was
UCLA,
slowly paying.
UCLA is kind of expensive, right?
Uh, well, yeah, like luckily, so this is one thing, right? Like if you know the right tools, I didn't know the right tools, but I learned it from different people, like friends along the way in high school. I applied for like the FAFSA or grants and
Mm-hmm.
stuff
Mm-hmm.
to get some money there from there. FAFSA, of course, gives you loans on top, right? So
Sure.
I took on some loans. My parents helped me a little bit with cash, but I also had a work study job on campus. And then I was making some money through the internships I did over the summer. So it led me to make some decisions to go pay for school for at
Yeah.
least part of it, but I did take on some loans. I kind of had to. Uh,
Right.
I didn't want to. I also didn't want to burden my family because they work their butts off to get to a certain stage and give us a certain life. So I didn't want to put more financial burden on them. So I took it on myself, and here we are.
It says a lot about you because most kids are like, no, my parents are supposed to pay for college, right? They're like, no, 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 like mom, dad, like help me out, right? And you kind of took the initiative and you said, no, this is a opportunity I was given. My parents gave everything for me, and so now I want to make sure I pay them back and take care of myself.
Totally. Yeah.
I love that. And so go to get your MBA and then you get into the entertainment space, right? It started with the internship at Fox. Is that when you did that internship, what were you doing? What was kind of the layout there? Were you just, picking up coffee and faxing, what were you doing there?
Well, it was I was lucky enough to land like a rotational finance internship,
Okay.
and so I would go from department to department like a few months at a time. It was like a year-long internship.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, had to cut it short by 6 months because there was like a writer's strike in the middle of all that, and so I was basically doing a lot of clerical type work
Sure.
and doing data entry and learning certain things about different software. So that was good. But I was looking at documents that I kind of familiarized myself with. And I felt like I did a good job because they hired me back after a few years when I applied
Hmm.
again. But yeah, so it was a lot of like clerical type work.
Sure. And so what was your main role when you first got was it Fox that you got your first job there?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so where did you start?
So there, when I started, I was hired as an accounting clerk. I kind of just had to, take whatever job I got at that time, and I liked being at Fox when I was interning there, so I reached back out. I took the accounting clerk position that just opened up in their department, and I was essentially doing a lot of, reconciliation between accounting softwares and slowly they started giving me more and more, seeing that I was doing a good job. So then I started doing like development payroll. So all the writers that have a development deal with the studio, they have assistants that they bring on board, right? So then I was doing payroll for those assistants essentially. So they would come and drop off their time cards. I would pay them out every week. So I was doing that and a few other things. It was like a mishmash of accounting duties.
Sure. And so you were just pretty much managing all the books
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
Fox.
for Fox. Yeah.
That's like pretty big.
No, it actually is. I
It's
know.
like
I
like
feel.
like it's not like mom and dad's restaurant on the corner here. You're
Yo,
managing major
look,
books for Fox.
I did that too. I actually, before I landed that job, I was my parents went through multiple types of businesses in their life over the last
Okay.
15 years. So I would help out there. After graduating, I actually ran one of the salons that we own. and I would do like the inventory, payroll, making sure the staff was like, on time, all that stuff, like just managing the business, like
Sure.
very, very base foundation of that. So I was doing that for years. So I did that too.
Well, so I have to ask. I didn't know your family owned a salon. So is that why your hair is just on point, my man? Because this thing is perfect.
It's just has to be like that. I've made peace with it. I've actually never gone to the salon to get my hair done or anything like
All
that.
right, I had to ask. And so, how long were you at Fox?
I was at Fox for about 3 years.
Okay. And when did you make that? Was the next jump NBC?
Next jump was Showtime, and so
Showtime.
that happened because I decided to go to grad school while I was at Fox. So I think it was the last year at Fox I decided to get my MBA. So I was doing part-time MBA at UC Irvine, and when people go to grad school, they usually end up making, especially MBAs, they usually end up making either a career switch or they switch jobs because they're paying all this money to get more knowledge and whatever it is, and try to make a difference, right, in their career. So most people will either meet someone in the process or they'll start applying and use those MBA skills in the next job.
Right.
So I decided to apply, and actually Showtime was a weird situation where I got reached out on LinkedIn. So I have a LinkedIn presence. I think it's very, very important because I've landed 2 of my last 4 jobs through LinkedIn and someone reaching out to me, like, knock on wood.
Right. Yeah. LinkedIn is huge. Most people don't understand how valuable
Yeah,
LinkedIn is.
it's huge. So someone from Showtime reached out to me, and I was like, hey, I'm a believer of, if something comes and falls into your lap, you can't just excuse it. You can't just dismiss it, right? You have to like look into it and see how that can benefit you. How can it make you grow, right? So I always respond back, even if it's one of those staffing agencies. I'll respond back saying, hey, if anything, I'll put you in touch with someone else I know, right?
Right.
I'm not going to be the one applying.
Yeah.
So you never know when people come back into your life.
Yeah. You never know who somebody else knows too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Never burn a bridge. That's what my father always used to tell me. Never burn a bridge.
Very, very good.
Yeah. So you're at Showtime. You got this opportunity through LinkedIn. What were you doing at Showtime?
So at Showtime, I decided it was more of a hybrid role where, so at Fox, I'd ended up as an analyst where I was managing a few shows.
So what shows were you managing? I'm curious.
So I started off with animation. So I was managing like Family Guy, American Dad, Bob's Burgers. And so it was actually really exciting because I got to go to like the rap parties and all those things, like, because your name just gets inserted into the crew list.
Yeah, right.
Through the accounting department. So I was working with accountants that were on the shows and making sure that their transactions were flowing according to the budget, right? So that piece of my job, it flowed into Showtime. So Showtime ended up being 50-50, where it was, I was managing maybe like 4 shows instead of 8. And then I was handling financial planning and analysis, consolidating all the costs for the shows that they were producing or acquiring or licensing. And then we would essentially track the budget for that and roll the costs up to the financial statements. So it became, it like swung like to a whole different level, which was awesome because I got to learn something new.
No, I'm learning something new as we speak, and obviously I understand that everybody has a payroll, everybody has a budget, everybody has financials. But what was the biggest challenge for you when you were going through and analyzing and looking at all of the shows? What was the biggest challenge for you in just keeping everybody on track?
So it's actually tough to keep people on track when I'm on the back end, right? I'm like rolling up their costs. Whatever they're doing is based on either creative decisions or something that just happens, right? Such as life.
Right.
So, and we can relate that to our personal lives too, right? You make a budget, it's say 100,000, whatever it is, right? I'm just throwing out now entertainment numbers over there.
Yep.
$100,000 for whatever the cost is. You may come below in one category and go above in another category, right? So you may balance it out. Or you're going above on both categories. So sometimes it's a creative decision that leads to that. right? Or to make the show better, right?
Sure.
Sometimes you have to do it, and then it pays off. But it really depends on what that is, right? Really, did it actually make a difference when you added that, whatever, 5,000 on top or whatever it is, right?
Right.
So it's hard to keep people on budget. They have to do it. They have to be accountable towards the budget that they're given or that they produce themselves.
Sure.
So I personally couldn't do much about that because, I was still lower on the totem pole.
Right.
But I was the one who was consolidating that information and letting them know, hey, look, you're actually off budget by a lot. You guys need to bring
by a lot.
Yeah, you guys need to bring down your costs. And sometimes they would cut in other spots where
right.
it would, hey, I can, get rid of, we don't need to buy this expensive prop. We can get a, cheaper one. They would save elsewhere and then make up for it, right? As long as you know that you have to do that to come back to the ground level, I guess, or the baseline.
Sure.
Then you can make it happen. You can still make the whatever you need happen, right?
Right. So you were at Fox, then you go to Showtime, and then you go to NBC. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So NBC, I was not very happy at Showtime. Unfortunately, there was, the work was great, everything was great. I don't know why I was just not happy. So I decided.
Do you think it was the purpose of what you were working on, what you were doing at the time? Did you just kind of get tired of the numbers, or what was it there?
It wasn't the numbers or anything like that, because I ended up landing a job that was very similar to.
Okay.
I think it's the people. So it's very important. The people that you're around they influence you in a very drastic way. And I think that's been a huge thing for me too. Like I said, I was very quiet, and I was around people that were more open or extroverted, and I learned from them. I absorbed that, right, and balanced myself out a little bit. People that I was around, there's a mixed batch. There was people that were very uppity and great, and I met a lot of cool people there too that I keep in touch with even now. But there were people there, I was just around constant complaining and gossiping and all that stuff, which really brings your
morale down,
mindset down a little bit, right? And I felt like I was just kind of trapped a little bit in that, and I wasn't growing as much as I should have been.
Sure.
So I decided to start applying elsewhere, and I was fortunate to land a job at NBC, where all of a sudden I was around all these great people, and I made I still reach back out to them. I reached out to them because I built some family there, right? So it's very important, man, who you're around, because they will make it to you. They will make it into your head and your actions. So I think that's important in personal finances too, right? The more you're around people who don't think that they can fix their finances or lead a better life financially, then you're just going to be in the same state of mind where you're following suit and you're going out with them every day or whatever it is, wasting money on, alcohol and partying, whatever. And look, I've done that too. So I'm guilty.
Yeah, we all have, right?
We all have, right? But maintaining a balance, because you can do it. You can see that you're capable of doing it, of, setting a budget for yourself, setting a goal for yourself, and then trying to work hard to hit that goal, right? That comes from people around you too. If you're surrounding yourself with people that don't care about that or don't think it's possible, then you're like, you know what? It's chill. I'm just going to be comfortable in this life and just hang out with my besties and and just keep doing what I'm doing.
Fear of missing out, right? FOMO.
Yeah.